I'm trying to see as many people as I can.
Live.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Today is June the 30th, and I want to thank everyone for joining in with the Audit and Finance Committee committee meeting tonight. I'm going to start by asking our majority council to take attendance.
Sure, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Willingham? You just spoke. Peter?
Here.
Bergdorf?
Here.
Clay? Grimm?
Here.
Ray Joyce? Lakakis?
Here.
Mayo?
Here.
And Brewski?
Here.
7 present.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, so we're going to get started here. It's a beautiful day. I'm looking out the window and I can see my grandson running down the yard, waving at me. So we're gonna get moving here, and so we'll start. Ms. Kennedy, just move us forward.
Sure. The first item is approving the previous meeting's minutes.
Madam Chair, love to make a motion to approve those minutes if it's so acceptable.
Delighted to second.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Item 2 is authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 10 Morton Avenue in the city of Albany.
Madam Chair.
Yes, our chair recognizes Mr. Peter.
I held. Oops, sorry, there's bells and things. I had held this up last last month, simply because there was a concern that the building being returned to the owner, it hadn't been registered on the vacant building registry as had been required. So to accomplish that but get this moving, I had proposed an amendment. Rebecca, would you be so kind as to potentially read that?
All right, the amendment for the resolution itself would be to move forward with approving this item. However, that said approval shall be subject to the following conditions and restrictions, which must be met to the satisfaction of Albany County prior to the conveyance of title to 10 Morton Avenue to Kiri C. Roberts. Item 1, the property must be properly registered with and inspected for the City of Albany's vacant and abandoned building registry and for any other applicable registries. And item 2, any and all outstanding code and or permit violations must be resolved and closed.
Okay.
So now, is this an amendment? No.
I think that would be language, Madam Chair, that would be included in the resolution, which would come up for vote before you folks.
Yes. So, and now do we have to take a vote on this, council?
The item needs to be moved forward. I don't believe the additional language needs to be additionally voted on.
Okay, so we're in agreement on that, also with the deputy council too, is that correct? Rebecca?
Oh, sorry, I thought you said deputy. Yes, that is correct. And Brandon, feel free to jump in if you'd like. Just moving this item forward, we
Okay.
have included the additional language that I just read into the resolution, which will be included in the agenda next Tuesday.
Okay, I want to thank you, Mr. Peter, for that amendment. Also, are there any questions on what has been discussed so far? If not, our chair recognizes motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
All right, item 3 is local law number L for 2021. This is deemed tabled at the request of the sponsor as no local law, or I'm sorry, no public hearing was introduced this session. Item 4 is amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget for vehicle replacement. And items 4 and 5 are actually the same item, so they are combined. And I believe Mr. Borman is here, or I'm sorry, Chief Deputy Borman is here this evening.
And who's here to represent?
Madam Chair, Lee Borman, Chief Deputy, filling in for Sheriff Apple this evening.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
So legislative approval is requested to allow our office to move $50,000 from our ambulance reserve line to our automobile line in our current 2022 active budget. This money is going to be used to buy a new ambulance. It's technically a new used ambulance, but it'll be new to us. So we're just basically requesting to move $50,000 from the one line to the other line.
All right, does anybody have any questions before I ask one? All right, so how many ambulances do we have?
We have 6 total.
And where are they used?
Two are permanently in the town of Bethlehem, which covers Bethlehem, Queens Ravina, and 3 are in the hill towns, and we have 1 in reserve.
Thank you for that information.
Yes, ma'am.
If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Mr. Grimm?
Yeah, just based on your question. Why would you have 2 in Bethlehem, for example, and none in Guilderland?
The call volume, well, we don't cover Guilderland. Guilderland has their own EMS division and their own ambulances. We don't cover Guilderland. Bethlehem call volume promotes us to have, a dedicated full-time ambulance in Bethlehem. And the second one kind of covers the Ravina. So we have a system. So those ambulances are stationed there. One's actually stationed out in Rensselaer. And when a call goes out, they jockey around and they move around quite a bit to make sure that the entire county is covered.
Right. So, and the Bethlehem pays the county for the EMS service.
Yes, all the towns.
Guilderland, we have our own. You're right. We have our own. So
Yeah,
it's because they're paying you. That's why the 2 are in Bethlehem.
absolutely. All the towns and villages pay us, and it's dependent on their population and call volume.
Yeah, unless they have their own EMS, which we do.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Peters.
if there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to move this.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peters. I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Next.
Item 5 was just addressed. Item 6 is authorizing and directing the Board of Elections to certify its
Excuse me.
expenses.
Wait. I'm sorry. Does everyone know that we voted on 4 and 5 together? I just want to make that. Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just want to be clear with that. All right. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Proceed.
Item 6 is authorizing and directing the Board of Elections to certify its expenses regarding the 2021 election cycle. And I believe Ms. Bleddy is here this evening.
Ms.
Yes,
Brett?
good evening, Madam
evening.
Chair. We are simply requesting that the county legislature approve the certification of chargebacks to municipalities for costs associated with running elections during the 2021 election cycle. This is an annual request, and this is a way for the county to recoup costs associated with running these elections, and these costs are charged back to all the local towns and cities. Thank you.
I have a question. I see that this represents, I guess, the municipalities as far as, the cities, townships are concerned. What about the school districts who use our equipment? How does that?
So the school districts have actually gotten a lot better at actually purchasing their own equipment for running their own elections this year, because as you are aware, we do not conduct school district elections, but we do allow the school districts to utilize our machines and our equipment, and we actually have a set fee schedule that we charge them, and that comes back to the county as well, to the general fund.
So you said it comes back. Can you
To
tell
you.
us?
Yeah.
All right. And how do we see that? How do we see the money? Do you bring it back to us so that we? See?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
can you-
it's, they're checks that are just written back to the county. They do not go back into the Board of Elections budget. I believe they just go to the general fund. But probably management and budget could answer that a little bit better as to what happens once the check gets returned.
Yeah, so Rachel, the handoff is basically obviously it goes through this process, the legislature certifies the numbers, then management and budget sends the actual bills to each of the municipalities. They come back, the vast majority, as Commissioner Bloody said, come back as physical checks. A couple of the municipalities do wires. And then it is reflected in the actuals for the revenue line that are budgeted in there. So it's in the board's budget, but it's not like a line that they get to spend again or anything like that. It's just an offset.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that information. Are there any other questions?
Madam Chair?
Mr. Graham?
Yeah, thank you. So the chargebacks are based on what the actual cost is in a particular town or city.
It is in.
For
correct,
the
sorry,
Board of
go.
Elections. So it's based specifically on what they cost you to run it in those municipalities?
Correct, for what's allowable under the law. The only thing that we divvy up equally is for early voting. And the reason for that is because it's a service that's provided countywide, and voters anywhere in the county, in any part of whatever municipality they live in, can vote in any other location regardless of residence.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chair,
All right, you're very welcome.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Berger.
Rachel, as long as you're here, could you give us a sense of how this is going to change for 2022 because of the extra elections that we will be required to have this year?
Yes, so there's a safe assumption that the cost will increase by an additional 1/3 because of the third election that's added to the budget.
So it's going to be over $250,000 for the third of election.
Yes,
Well, I'm looking at 586 total, and
but you're
Yes.
adding that amount, right? Yes. But you have to understand that you can't use 2021 chargebacks as a fair comparison, simply because, as you're aware, these are based on actual primaries that exist or the type of election that exists. And so sometimes there are primaries in one part of the county and not the other. Sometimes it does not involve a major party primary. It only involves a minor party. So for 2021, like in Colony, for example, you had conservative primaries and it was a minor party, and we were able to consolidate polling places for that particular primary. Same thing with New Scotland, and City of Albany was actually a larger party primary. That was a Democratic primary.
so it's not linear, but there will be a substantial increase.
Well, let's put it this way. The August 23rd primary that's coming up is a congressional countywide Democratic primary. So that involves 100,000 active voters countywide. So yes, we have to roll out the full scale operation in order to facilitate that election.
Okay. And you do not have that covered in your budget at this time?
No, because it was not anticipated. So I believe that a request for legislative action will be taken in regard to the additional funding necessary to cover those costs.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Riley?
I was just going to give a little more color on that. We anticipate that'll be coming down next month. There's going to be a couple of adjustments coming through.
All right, thank you. Mr. Peter?
Madam Chair, if there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to move this.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second,
I got a second from Mr. Berger. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms.
Thank you.
Kennedy?
Item 7 is amending the 2022 Division of Finance budget for administrative adjustments.
I'm going to take that one, Madam Chair.
Point
Can I
to
begin?
speak.
Can I can do that one, Madam Chair. Yep,
Okay, yes, Mr. Riley.
Thank you. Madam Chair, this is a budget amendment to make some salary changes in the Division of Finance. This is precipitated by a couple different factors. One is the fact that our foreclosure cycles are finally reopening again, and we have a large pile to get through there, a large number of delinquencies. The other side is to correct kind of a pay equity issue that had crept up over the years to make sure all three managers are receiving equal compensation. One of them had gotten ahead of the other two, and it wasn't fair to the other two in that situation. So the side of it that is handling the tax enforcement, though, there is some increase to salaries. I actually fielded a call from one of your members earlier today, and I figure I should probably just share the information with everyone here. Yes, this is budget neutral in 2022. I'm aware that there is an increase if we keep these increases in 2023. The long-term plan for that is to offset some of our fees for service in next year's budget, because we're bringing more of the title searching and abstracting work in-house, whereas we used to contract all of that out.
Okay. Are there any questions on this at all? Right. Not Mr. Peter?
Madam Chair, no, I'm just pleased to see that we're taking the proper steps so that we can move through the cycle. I know we made a big issue with long-term abandoned properties being rapidly moved through the foreclosure cycle, and I know Mr. Riley and his team are making that a key to it. So if there are no objections, I'd like to make a motion to move that.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. Mackes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Kennedy?
Item 8 is authorizing the release of a right of reverter and reentry of title to 9 St. Joseph's Terrace in the city of Albany.
And,
Me again, Madam Chair.
okay, Chair recognizes Mr. Riley.
So, Madam Chair, we've done a few of these over the last few months, I guess. This is a release of a right of reverter. There was language when this was initially transferred that significant improvements needed to be made to the parcel. It has been determined that they have satisfied all of those conditions and have requested the release.
Very good. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Love to give that motion.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter. Did I see your hand up, Mr. Clay, for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Thank you.
Item 9 is authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 375 Sherman Street in the city of Albany.
This is another one from for myself, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riley.
Thank you. This is transfer of tax foreclosed property in the city of Albany, 375 Sherman Street. It is going back to the immediate former property owner. They have placed $12,982.66 on deposit with the Division of Finance, which is the full amount of back taxes owed.
Any questions?
Motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Clay. I have a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 10 is authorizing the cancellation of an unenforceable delinquent real property tax lien on 170 Orange Street in the city of Albany and chargeback of the amount credited in connection with said lien.
Are we back to you, Mr. Riley, or
I believe
This was
Mr.
supposed to be
McGuire.
handled- Yeah, this is supposed to be Mr. McGuire. If he is on.
I am here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
oh, there
excellent.
you are. There you are.
Here I am. Yes.
Yeah.
So the city of Albany demolished 170 Orange Street. The demolition cost was not paid by the property owner, was levied on the property tax bill. Following that, the city of Albany is settling a lawsuit with that property owner and has requested, as part of that lawsuit, the property owner will be paying that demolition cost to the city of Albany. So we have an issue where the outstanding tax bill includes a demolition cost that was already paid by the property owner. So to correct that issue, they've asked that city of Albany has asked that we charge back the tax bill, the 2020 property tax bill for 170 Orange Street to the city of Albany so they can resolve that issue. So that's what we have here.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Peter?
only to preempt, because we had a long conversation about this 2 months ago, just to point out, I think this one and number 11 are unenforceable, where the city of Albany is paying back the county for taxes that the county had reimbursed the city for and unenforceable. So the city of Albany is not getting anything. It's giving back to the county based on unenforceable liens. And I just didn't want that getting lost again. And with that, I will not speak anymore.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I see a smile on your face, Mr. Berger.
Yeah. I thank you. Thank you.
Okay, if there are if there aren't any more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter and a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Let's go to the third.
Item 11 is authorizing the cancellation of an unenforceable delinquent real property tax lien on 15 Rensselaer Street in the city of Albany and chargeback of the amount credited in connection with said lien.
Madam Chair, this is me again, Mike McGuire. Similar to the last item, this is a unenforceable tax lien that was levied against the city of Albany IDA. And we are looking to have that charged back to the city and they can then make us whole.
All right. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Peter?
if there are no questions, I'd make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter and I have a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Happy 4th of July.
Almost.
Not yet. Wait a minute. Okay, let's go.
Item 12 is a public hearing on the proposed 2023 to 2027 Albany County Capital Program.
Madam Chair, this is another one for me. So this is the annual 5-year capital plan as prescribed by the county charter. We have had the meeting of the, or actually multiple meetings of the capital committee this year to work through it. It was passed unanimously by all the capital committee members. And just as a reminder to any of the members who are not as familiar with this process, this is not binding the county to anything. This is simply setting maximum theoretical limits to these projects. They're intended to be the best estimate we can do at this time, but we try to build in enough contingency in these estimates to account for rising materials costs, things like that. We never end up bonding or anticipate bonding the full amount of the project of the initial plan as it's approved.
Very good. Do we have any questions?
Madam Chair?
Mr. Grimm?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to underscore what Commissioner Riley said. So oftentimes these votes on the capital plan come up and say, oh, it's in the capital plan, so we have to vote for it. We don't. The plan is just that. It's a plan. And when each of these items come up individually, and eventually they will, then it's up to each member to determine if they think that's appropriate for them to vote yes or no. And this is particularly germane, I think, because we've spent over $60 million on renovating the now MVP arena since 2014. So it's pretty extensive expenditures that are often in the capital plan. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Very welcome. Any other comment?
Yeah.
Mr. Bergdorf?
This is really more of a note for Dave Riley.
Thanks.
But the ARPA Capital Committee, as you know, is meeting on Tuesday next week. And I think it would be good if Pat Alderson maybe shared this capital plan with the members of that committee so they could see what the baseline capital construction is as they talk about new potential capital projects. Just a thought.
We can do that.
Thank you, Mr. Bergdorf. Mr. Peter?
Madam Chair, if there are no further questions or comments, I would like to make a motion to move this to public hearing.
Got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. Brewski. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And number 13, Ms. Kennedy?
Item 13 is adopting the Albany County Capital Program for 2023 to 2027. This is tabled pending the public hearing.
Very good. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and moving this along expeditiously here. I think we've set a record as far as our committee is concerned, and I thank you for this beautiful last day of June, and I hope that your summer is going along swimmingly. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion. I got a motion and a second from everybody. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very
Have a
much.
great weekend,